For the duration of our history, humanity has asked itself the same kind of question. Why do we exist? Humans love observing things and asking why they are the way that they are, through the process of mythology, philosophy, or science. Once we are self-aware enough to realize that we are self-aware, we are asking why. Surely there must be a reason that we exist on this earth. Life is also confusing. We survive, cry, fight, live, laugh, and love for what reason? What is our purpose? Well, my purpose today is to tell you about this game called Everhood, which explores the confusing nature of our lives and our purpose in it. Everhood is an adventure RPG revolving around musical battles. It feels similar to games like Undertale, but it's set in what seems to be a surreal psychedelic purgatory where people can live out their wildest dreams that reality doesn't allow. I would compare the tone and story to ones such as Coraline or Alice in Wonderland. These are stories that explore life through a journey in a whimsical yet dark dream world, where logic doesn't work the same way it does in our familiar world. The game has an exciting soundtrack that accompanies some very unique feeling pixel art characters and levels. The environments are mostly shrouded in black, which makes them feel very obscured and mysterious. It also implies more detail without having to show it. The pixel art is fairly minimalistic, but it works in the game's favor. The characters all have fun and interesting designs, ranging between mushrooms, robots, vampires, wizards, and psychedelic fever dream gnomes. It feels like a world where anything can exist, and anything can happen. Still, it also feels like a world that's slowly fading away. Everything seems to be overgrown in shadow, and the parts that we do see are vibrant in colorful ways that the real world rarely is outside of dreams. The game feels like a nightclub in the middle of a ghost town, patronized by inhabitants that seem alive, but not entirely lucid, even when awake. In the game, you explore the world in an effort to find answers to yourself and the world of Everhood. You enter funky music battles, which have sort of reverse Guitar Hero mechanics, where you dodge attacks that are synced to the music. The game also expands on the music battle mechanics as the story progresses, and some battles have some interesting twists. At times it feels like you're exploring an abnormal fantasy world, and other times it feels like your mind is singing to the very fabric of reality of senses you didn't even know existed. For me, there is no other game I've played quite like Everhood, not even Everhood 2, but we'll get to that later. It's a one-of-a-kind experience that only takes between 5 to 10 hours or so to play, but at least a lasting impact on you afterwards. If it sounds interesting, you can handle a lot of strangeness, I recommend checking it out. Now I'm going to get into what happens in the story and what makes it so special for me, so if you don't want spoilers, then you probably won't want to watch the rest of this video. Upon opening the game, beings beyond human comprehension ask you to abandon your humanity in order to enter the world of Everhood. Once you abandon your humanity, the story begins. A wooden doll is laying in pieces in the middle of the forest, and a thief clad in blue steals one of their arms, leaving the doll to reassemble most of itself. The doll, Red, is who you play as. Your goal is simple: get your arm back. Frog is the first character that Red meets. They give you your tutorial fight and let you find your arm. There's more going on to Frog, but we'll get to that later. After a trip to a dance club and meeting the establishment's fine customers, you track down your arm thief. They've taken your arm to this big scary guy called Gold Pig. For daring to want the body part that is rightfully yours, Gold Pig sends Red to be incinerated. Eventually, the flames are too much and Red dies. You experience a thrilling and nonsensical series of events that no living being is meant to experience, before the higher beings of this world decide to give you a second chance. They send you off with some vague hints about what will happen when you actually die, and you're back outside the incinerator. This experience of near death is probably one of the most exciting and absurd parts of the game. There are 2 battles back to back which give you one baffling thing after another. The entire time you might be asking, what's that? Why is that happening? Who are you? What have I done to deserve this? It's a blast. It's an effective introduction to the wacky adventure that you're about to set out on. Upon returning to the world of the living, you find the blue thief alone, minus a pair of legs. They say that Gold Pig left with both Red's arm and their legs, and they ask to join you and get their body parts back from Gold Pig. Red accepts, because how could you refuse that little face, and enters the Cosmic Hub. The hub is full of doors that lead to the rest of the game. The door frame leading to Gold Pig is empty, and you need to find the pieces of the door in the other areas of the game. There's no set order for the other levels of the game, so I'm just going to describe what happens in them in no particular order. After a wild night racing at the carnival, Red and Blue get lost in the mushroom forest. They meet Green Mage, who has become eccentric after being lost in the forest without an eye, for who knows how long, or maybe they're just like that. They claim to work for Gold Pig, but they seem to mainly battle you for funsies, and after that, they're chill. In the forest, you also find several sentient mushrooms playing hide-and-seek. After finding all of them, the guardian of the forest is graceful. and lets you see a secret bonus mushroom who is slim like a snake and is vaguely threatening. They battle with you, which is another one that may have you asking, what's that? Why is that happening? Who are you? What have I done to deserve this? After that psychedelic mushroom-induced fever dream, you learn the absolute truth that, you are the universe, and the universe is you, man. There are a few of these absolute truths in the game, and just like many other nuggets of philosophical wisdom, they don't make any sense until they do. These inexpressive divine moments of truth are fun little experiences that add to the surreal metaphysical tone of the game. The final encounter in the Mushroom Forest is the lab of Professor Orange, who seeks to destroy Red because they are the Red Marauder. Both Orange and Green seem to think that Red is someone's enemy, and a force that must be stopped. We'll find out why later. In the world of Everhood, you can also visit the castle. You find a mirror at the top of the castle, and this time, instead of Orange and Green claiming you're in danger that must be stopped, it's yourself. Red appears in the mirror, and it's the only time that it seems that they talk. They call themselves a wooden cage that they hate. They claim that the cage controls them and protects everyone else. There's definitely something sinister going on, but whatever's happening, there aren't a lot of people that want you to have your arm. Midnight Town is the final major area of Everhood at this stage of the game that I will discuss in this video. You encounter several characters, including Green Mage again. With Green Mage, you have a short diversion into a roleplay session. The battles in this section involve you deflecting Red attacks. It's a neat temporary twist on the battle mechanics. Red proves themselves the hero of the Land of Medallion and receives a final door piece. Upon fixing the door, you start your trek towards Gold Pig's palace. Whoa! It's like 3D! You walk through a desolate desert landscape, and even though it's not too eventful, it feels pretty atmospheric. It's a good time to reflect. When you rest for the night, Blue tells you that they've been forgetting their memories. They don't know why they've been doing what they're doing, but what they do know is that they trust whatever you choose to do. Aww. Throughout these journeys in Everhoods, Blue's been a fun companion. Their comments are grumpy and sassy, which is fun, but they also advocate for Red since they can't say anything. Red has shown them what it means to be a hero, whether or not they're really just doing it for the arm. Blue may be forgetting what they're doing, but it's still clear to you. Through all these surreal misadventures, your quest has been simple: to find your arm. Even though the events of Everhood are kind of nonsensical, the simple quest of finding your arm means that you still know what you're doing and why. It's a good way to take a surreal game, but still keep it grounded with a simple goal. It's easy for surreal stories to become confusing by not having clear goals, but Everhood does a good job at avoiding this. In the morning, you continue your journey to get your arm back. Red finally reaches Gold Pig and has their final confrontation with them. They defeat Gold Pig, and they and the mages admit defeat. Red gets their arm back, and their quest is over. Or so it seems. This whole time, it seemed like Red has had a destiny that the other inhabitants of Everhood have feared. It's time to get some answers. Frog returns to Red to inform them of their true purpose, being the Reaper of Everhood. By this point, you learn that Everhood is a realm of immortality where people can live their happiest moments, forget them, and experience them all over again. This may explain Blue's memory loss. However, Frog further explains that Everhood's inhabitants are trapped, and have been for countless years. They say it's Red's role as a human to free them, even if they may resist. Freeing them entails killing them, which is why several, including the voices that seem to exist in Red's head, resent this destiny. As a player, you can choose to refuse to kill anyone. Frog is very unhappy with this and takes revenge on you, saying that Red was not strong enough for the task. In the true root of this game, you kill each of the living inhabitants of Everhood one by one. You battle many of them, and in these battles, you can absorb attacks and use them for your own attacks. This is similar to the mechanic introduced in the Medallion roleplay session. The characters mostly resist being killed, and respond by hiding or fighting. Some characters react differently. Blue accepts that this twisted version of immortality is not what they want to live, and they trust that Red is still doing the right thing. It's quite a bittersweet scene when Red kills Blue. It's for the good of Blue and everyone else, or so you tell yourself, but it's still heartbreaking ending the life of your scrunkly little companion. Green resists being killed, but not because they don't want to be killed, but because they want things to end climactically. When you meet Green for the final time, they show you a seemingly endless hallway where they've been counting the years they spent in Everhood. It's clear that Green feels trapped, just like Frog said, but their desire to keep life interesting still gives Red a climactic fight. Obviously, killing all these beloved characters takes a toll. Even your good friend Rostabeast is furious about these actions. It's not supposed to be easy, and the game knows it. By the standards of our familiar world, it's extremely messed up. Still, the game reassures you that in the world of Everhood, immortality is extremely messed up. Beings such as the bubblegum spirits tell you that life is best enjoyed when there's a limit to it. The Forest Guardian tells you that humans naturally fear death. even when they're immortal. If humans spend an eternity fearing a death that they can't experience, then that's a miserable way to exist. Still, Red's actions still take a major toll on their psyche. As they kill the final life on Everhood, Red must face the consequences of their actions in the form of reconciliation. Everyone Red has killed manifests themselves like vengeful spirits. This drives the being within Red to break out of the doll. This being is Pink, the human who has trapped themselves inside of Red, because they don't want to face the direct complications of killing Everhood. They've partly done this to dissociate themselves from those actions, and prevent themselves from doing so. Still, the first time Red was incinerated, they were told they would face reconciliation, and they did so. Pink has to accept that they are the one who has killed the immortals of Everhood. Pink must face the end of their life, and of the world itself, truly ending Everhood for good. And wow, this ending is mind-blowing. The music is some of the most hyped video game music I've ever heard. It's dramatic with an odd hint of cheerfulness and bittersweetness. It really feels like it encapsulates the sorrow and drama of the world ending, but also the joy that the misery of immortality is being put to an end. Something I can confidently say about Everhood is that it knows how to make an ending really feel like an ending. That's fitting, because the end of the game is about the end of existence. As much as I like when stories leave an ending open-ended, implying and hinting future exploits of the characters, there's something really impactful about how definitively Everhood ends, just by removing any possibility of things continuing from where they left off. After ending the universe, Pink gets to see the beloved characters of Everhood one more time. They all express their optimism about finally getting to experience a new kind of existence after being immortal forever. They have a final wholesome battle with God, and then Pink and the other people of Everhood say goodbye. As a whole, Everhood is an unforgettable experience as a game. The world is so surreal and unique. It's a small indie game, and it really feels like a passion project that the developers had fun making, and adding whatever silly or profound thing they felt like adding. It's a wild ride. It lasts less than 10 hours, so there's not really any load, and then it ends with the most ending that ever ended. That's why the game is so impactful. It's a compact, wacky, and surreal adventure that leaves you reflecting on the nature of existence after it's over. Something that I do think needs addressing when it comes to Everhood, however, is the themes. The second half of the game is essentially the Undertale genocide route, but if that were the good route instead. And the game tells you that killing all the characters is a necessary task. I don't think I need to explain why killing is bad, or that a life shouldn't be ended just because it seems tedious or miserable. If you agree with me on those things, the themes of Everhood may seem in poor taste. I don't think that's what the themes of Everhood intend, but I do think it's unfortunate that they could be interpreted that way, and they could potentially have been made more explicit to avoid such misunderstandings. I'd like to explain how the themes of Everhood aren't why killing is cool, actually. In the story of Everhood, some of the characters explain how life as an immortal in Everhood is miserable and meaningless. That's not a way that people should exist. Some pieces of lore in the game explain how the inhabitants of Everhood have twisted themselves and each other to keep life interesting. They've mutilated themselves, and they resort to torturing each other for fun. You can see how Professor Orange has tortured characters such as Grundle or Harold Haley. Goldpig seems to have been so desperate to find meaningful experiences that they hoard treasure like a dragon, and took Blue's legs to use as toothpicks. Zig is just plain rude, and maybe it's because not even buying 1 million schmuck drinks can satisfy them. There may have been hopes that Everhood would be a paradise, but really is a bunch of people stuck in every capitalistic rich person's midlife crisis. So the themes of Everhood are that immortality is miserable and should be ended. And this makes sense in the context of the world. Still, themes generally have applications in the real world, and immortality doesn't exist in the real world, yet. The choice seems to be that either Everhood's themes only apply to this made-up world, or its themes are about life as we know it in the real world. This understanding would imply that themes of Everhood are that if a life is miserable, it should end. I would like to explain the interpretation that Everhood's themes of immortality aren't actually about life, but about excessive amounts of wealth. If you replace the concept of immortality in Everhood with the concept of wealth, the story and themes make a lot of sense. People went to Everhood because they wanted infinite wealth, and they had so much wealth that it started to lose meaning. In an effort to keep things interesting, people resorted to extreme measures. It's just like in real life, where rich people are so unsatisfied with their wealth that they do things like buy digital PNGs for millions of dollars, create corporate virtual reality hellscapes, or become president, just in an effort to find meaning in their lives that they thought money would fill. The Forest Guardian in Everhood says that people will be scared of death even if they were immortal, and this line stuck out to me. If we apply wealth to this idea, this means that people are scared of losing their wealth, even people that are extremely wealthy. and that's not a healthy way to live. In Everhood, taking away people's immortality is like taking away the wealth of an extremely wealthy but miserable person. It's just like what philosophers have been contemplating for millennia. From ancient Greeks and Buddhists to teens in the 1960s, people have been contemplating that the purpose of life isn't money and things, but vibes. That's what Everhood is all about. It's about vibes. Another aspect of Everhood's themes I would like to explore is pink or red's characterization. Pink and red are sort of the same person, but also two distinct entities. Red seems to represent Pink's actions, but Pink dissociates himself from them. They either use Red as a scapegoat or a means to control himself. Still, even though Pink blames Red for the actions they did, they can't escape that those actions belong to Pink. To me, Pink's relationship with Red seems to represent their relationship to their decisions. Up until the reconciliation, Pink thinks that Red is the decision that chose them. But then after reconciliation, Pink accepts that they chose Red and their decisions. This is shown by Pink putting on a red blindfold and letting Red become their eyes. On their own, Pink is unable to do much. They're lost and are driven away from discomfort. Red represents the decisions that guide them and push them to make hard choices. Pink goes from thinking their decisions are something they had to do to embracing that their decisions are something they chose. But how does this relate to the larger story of Everhood? I choose to interpret it as decision-making being the antithesis of limitless wealth and time. The reason we as humans need to choose things is because we only have so many things to choose. If we have unlimited things, we don't need to choose anything, it's just there. Red and pink are the only ones that can end Everhood because they represent the choice that ends the unlimited nature of the world. Decisions also have to do with how we find meaning in our life. Everhood is a world without meaning. Meaning is lost when life lasts for an eternity. Meaning isn't something given to humans, but something we have to choose. We find meaning in our lives by choosing how to make the most of our limited time and resources. The final absolute truth that Everhood gives you is that there are no absolute truths. It tells you to take care of yourself and enjoy life. I think that with this line alone, it's hard to argue that Everhood is about how killing or being killed is actually cool. People have come up with many answers or ideas on the meaning of life, and the one absolute truth on the meaning of life is that there is no absolute meaning. Life is what we decide to do with it, and how we choose to experience it in the time we have. For as long as human history, we have asked ourselves what to do with our existence, but there's no answer given to us. The answer for what to do with our existence is for the individual to define. When it comes to video games, for me, Everhood is like no other. It's a truly strange experience in the best possible way. It's really fun to play, but it's also left me with profound thoughts ever since experiencing its story for the first time. I hope you found this video on this weird little gem interesting. I've always been fascinated with Everhood's existence, always being about 4 years as of the making of this video. It's not a game that seems to get a lot of attention, and I understand, it's a strange game. It kind of feels right that it has a niche audience. Just look at it. If the game looks interesting to you, I'd suggest checking it out. You may likely have different thoughts on it than I do. That's kind of the point. It's a lot like life. It's confusing, illogical, and a bit different for everybody. Goodbye, everybody. Sam wishes you well.